Application of the Noble Eightfold Path in Life. Right livelihood, establishing a righteous career. Welcome back everyone to Mind Podcast. When discussing the importance of the Noble Eightfold Path, most emphasize right view, which includes perspectives on the four foundations of mindfulness, karma, and the Four Noble Truths. Actions of body, speech, and mind must align with ethical standards, providing a foundation for wisdom arise. The precedence of right view is compared in scriptures to the sun rising in the morning, marking the beginning of a new day. The essential foundation for attaining right view and all other aspects of the path lies in the fifth element, establishing a career. In Mahayana scriptures, the Buddha clearly states that individuals engaged in professions that violate or exist outside the law cannot develop wisdom or morality. Such individuals may deceive others or themselves, living in constant fear due to illegal activities. In the Noble Eightfold Path, the Buddha outlines each aspect in two levels. The first level involves regular practice, leading to the accumulation of merit and a stable life built upon that merit, which is the primary goal for most lay people. The second level involves using the Noble Eightfold Path to develop morality, concentration, and wisdom, leading to spiritual enlightenment, with nirvana as the ultimate goal. This path is primarily for monastics and some lay people who are detached from worldly life or uninterested in earthly happiness. Righteous career establishment is more significant than the popular notion of settled living in the phrase peaceful dwelling and successful career. Peaceful dwelling implies stable living conditions without the need to move, allowing for a stable profession that brings happiness. Righteous career establishment inherently includes these elements and extends to morality, legality, and proper understanding. In the past, religious texts often referred to the monastic life of Buddhist monks as engaging in a religious profession, mistakenly treating monastic life as a mere occupation. This concept misrepresents the spiritual values that dedicated monastics invest in and share with society. Calling it a profession implies a two-way transaction governed by market or state mechanisms, where profit is a consideration. However, monastic life is not about seeking profit like a professional occupation. A worker, whether a regular employee or a CEO, receives a salary based on performance and contribution, but this is not the case for monastic. Many monks work tirelessly to build temples for the community's practice without personal gain. To complete these religious duties, some monks incur debts that take decades to repay, even though the average human lifespan is only about 70 years. In summary, the inappropriate description of monastics as engaging in a religious profession misrepresents the relationship between monks and the community. Making wisdom one's career. What constitutes a righteous career for monastics? From the Pali Canon to the Agamas and Mahayana scriptures, all affirm that a monastic's righteousness in Buddhist life lies in the thorough and complete cultivation of morality, concentration, and wisdom. In Vietnamese culture, particularly within the Pure Land school, there is a saying, reciting the Amitabha Sutra will ensure a lifetime of sustenance, implying that assisting with funerals helps strengthen the spiritual bond between monastics and lay people. Monastics performing such duties need not worry about food or clothing, as the deceased's family members will make offerings to the temple. However, merely reciting sutras contributes only a small part to developing wisdom. Memorizing sutras may secure a position, but one's position remains stable and long-lasting only if one possesses pure morality, because the core of monastic life lies in moral conduct. According to the Noble Eightfold Path, practitioner is considered truly righteous only if they possess morality, concentration, and wisdom, with wisdom being the most crucial element. In the Digha Nikaya, the Buddha teaches, only wisdom is the true career, meaning wisdom is the career of a monastic. Those with wisdom inherently possess morality, personality, and the selfless, altruistic spiritual values that characterize the path. Anyone who lives and acts with wisdom is bound to have concentration. For lay people, righteous career establishment is expressed in various ways, with society offering thousands of occupations. Instead of listing suitable professions, the Buddha chose to exclude certain careers, deeming those left as righteous. This exclusion method is concise and easy to remember. as new occupations continue to emerge with the evolution of history, science, technology, and society. New professions, such as stock trading, didn't exist 100 years ago, and 100 years from now, professions we can't even imagine today may emerge, like selling tickets for lunar tourism. This profession could involve ticket sales, lunar tours, associated services, and more. 5 types of professions are listed as unrighteous, regardless of whether the person engaging in them is a disciple of the Buddha. These are considered unrighteous, even though most national laws permit them. The limitation of the law is that it does not commit to or guarantee the development of morality and positive karma for those who build a career on these professions. Conversely, there are many occupations prohibited by law, although they may not be entirely wrong from a legal perspective. Ethical values and the law of karma always transcend the conventional and relative values of the law. The law depends on political consciousness in a specific historical period and is influenced by ideologies or political parties. Additionally, the law is subject to the customs, traditions, and religious culture of each nation. The law does not have the capacity to ensure that merely following the law will lead to a moral life. In short, ethics is a concept that transcends the law. Weapons trade countries involved in the weapons trade are wealthier than average nations. The United States is the most famous for producing and trading weapons. The Bush family's political party developed the national economy through arms sales. Every time a war or U.S. intervention occurs globally, various weapons are introduced. When countries receive arms supplies from the U.S., it means the U.S. already has more advanced weapons. Even if those countries use American weapons against the U.S., they will still lose. Major nations often profit from weapons, uranium, and nuclear weapons, or from using nuclear power for scientific purposes, making them very wealthy. Currently, some nations are on this path, challenging the world. Recent negotiations with such a nation seem futile. Iran is also accused by Western public opinion of having tendencies toward developing this field. The Buddha prohibited the weapons trade because it causes destruction, death, devastation, injury, stalemates, hatred, and severe economic paralysis, both nationally and internationally. A nation without war is a happy nation. Vietnam's history, marked by many wars for national defense, made the country poorer than others with similar advantages in resources and manpower. How much money did we have to spend on wars to protect the country's independence and borders? Producing weapons incites wars. Hence, both production and trade of weapons should be prohibited. As the world progresses, it becomes increasingly clear that returning to the spirit of Buddhism is better for humanity. Globally, there is a growing call for disarmament and the elimination of weapons, including nuclear disarmament, international bans on missiles with powerful destructive capabilities, and the abolition of chemical weapons and other types of arms. Eventually, as human minds evolve positively, weapons will no longer be seen as tools for maintaining peace. Human trafficking. Human trafficking is understood in 2 ways: trafficking in slaves and human beings. Newspapers report cases where mothers lacking 3 or 5 million VND sold their children for 6 million VND, or older brothers sold their siblings for 3 million VND. Such degradation of human dignity is truly terrible, cruel, and inhumane. Human life is priceless. The Buddha said, even if you carry your father on your left shoulder and your mother on your right shoulder for 1,000 miles and 1,000 lifetimes, cannot repay the debt of their upbringing. The creation of life is invaluable and cannot be measured by money, yet some people are willing to sell what is considered the fruit of love for 5 or 7 million VND. In many countries, human trafficking still exists. In some places, wives are still considered the property of their husband. In poor families, the husband can sell his wife and children. The Buddha has strictly forbidden this since ancient times. Working in brothels or selling sex for both men and women is another form of human trafficking. This profession is banned because it leads people to indulge in sensual pleasures, decline in moral life, neglect responsibility for maintaining family happiness, increase risks, and spread deadly diseases like HIV and AIDS, which are the scourge of the 20th century. Indulgence makes people addicted and lose happiness. Those engaged in this profession mostly exploit their physical appearance. Building a career on such exploitation is not considered a righteous career. Selling animals and meat. This category includes the livestock industry, as farming leads to the trading of animal products and meat. This industry involves three main activities: farming, trading, and slaughtering. Today, scientists have proven some alarming truths. For instance, every 454 grams, 1 pound, of meat produced for human consumption equals the loss of 5 to 12 square meters of arable land due to the need to grow crops for livestock feed, leading to the destruction of primary forests and farmland. Additionally, every 454 grams of produced requires 20,500 gallons of water, significantly impacting freshwater resources and releasing 270 kilograms of CO2 into the atmosphere, causing air, soil, and water pollution. Moreover, the karma of killing leads to decreased health and lifespan due to the accumulation of anger from slaughtered livestock, which is passed on to the consumers, making them irritable, angry, and reducing their spiritual vitality. Not to mention the direct harm to the seed of compassion. Butchers earn very little, but the karma of killing is immense. Those who sell birds and fish for release ceremonies also share in this karma. Once, monks encountered a woman selling birds for release. She told them, "Monks, please buy these 100 birds. If you don't buy them today, they might die tomorrow." The monks advised her to quit this job and find another way to make a living. She responded, "If I don't do this, where will monks and Buddhists get birds for release?" People in this profession evoke sympathy from Buddhists who feel sorry for the birds and fish and purchase them. The monks understand more than lay people and sympathize not only with the birds and fish, but also with those who sell them for release. If Buddhists did not express their compassion through releasing birds and fish, certainly no one would engage in this profession, and the creatures would die naturally according to the process of birth, aging, illness, and death. Selling intoxicant. Another profession that is prohibited is the trade of intoxicating substances like alcohol, beer, tobacco, ecstasy, drugs, heroin, etc. While the world today bans drugs and substances derived from them, alcohol, beer, and tobacco are not banned but are not encouraged, as evidenced by the ban on tobacco advertising in most countries. Turkey is the first country to ban smoking in public places, meaning anywhere with 2 or more people. It is likely that within 50 years, about 75% of the world will follow Turkey's lead. As tobacco smoke contains at least 50 different toxins, directly or indirectly causing many serious diseases like cancer, lung disease, cardiovascular issues, and strokes. Many countries have not been as strict as Turkey because the alcohol and tobacco industries contribute significant tax revenue. In Vietnam, these two industries generate substantial revenue. The Buddha advises that all intoxicating substances which cause loss of mental control should be banned. Selling poison. Poisons come in 2 forms: those that can cause death if ingested, and insecticides used to kill pests, despite the fact that killing insects protects plants, food, and crops, ensuring a sufficient livelihood for humans. However, killing insects also means destroying other species, which is relatively significant. Without those who sell pesticides, we might lack the grains and vegetables needed for survival. Those who engage in this profession may earn high profits. The karma they accumulate is not light. In summary, these 5 categories of profession, any involvement with them, even just approving or colluding, strictly prohibited. The profession of superstition. In the Digha Nikaya, Book 2, the Buddha advises monastics to avoid professions like geomancy, astrology, fortune-telling, and other forms of divination, often referred to as the superstition industry. The Buddha forbade these professions because of the high psychological dependence of those who use such services, leading to more harm than good. Causes people to lose confidence in their ability to solve their problems. While we cannot entirely restrict these professions, even analyzing cause and effect in social professions to solve problems is influenced by factors like feng shui. In fact, some families experiencing difficulties do not analyze social, family, or individual causes, but blame feng shui or other factors rooted in superstition. Worse, they may commit bad karma by blaming ancestral spirits or deceased relatives. The Buddha said there is no situation where the deceased influence the living. Some believe that merely changing the direction of a door, altar, kitchen, bedroom, or living room can make everything go smoothly. This is an exaggeration of feng shui's effect. In reality, feng shui is just the science of arrangement, the art of using colors and objects in a reasonable way to create a comfortable and convenient environment for users. Feng shui cannot create success, failure, wealth, poverty, happiness, or suffering, as many mistakenly believe. Some people believe that human life depends on a particular star. This belief is entirely baseless, unscientific, and goes against the principle of cause and effect. Regarding professions like physiognomy, palmistry, dream interpretation, and omens, the Buddha did not deny their scientific validity, but thoroughly analyzed the negative psychological dependence of those who believe in them or practice them, especially when some individuals exploit the superstitious beliefs of their followers to make money. Talented masters in these fields often do not live long. Few live past 60 because these professions are unrighteous. Those who seek their services feel psychologically dependent, fearful, and anxious, and whenever they encounter a problem, they rush to consult their master, paying a high fee. In fact, temples engaging in such activities are thriving. Even politicians seek advice to stay in power longer. Wealthy individuals also seek advice to maintain their wealth and prosperity. No profession or individual is exempt from needing the consultation of experts in these fields. The Buddha encourages sharing the Dharma and the law of cause and effect with those in these professions to help them live more righteously. Excluding bad, negative, or illegal professions that violate the principles of Buddhism and wisdom, all other professions are considered righteous. To ensure that a righteous career leads to a stable and successful life, the Anguttara Nikaya, Book 4, page 283, teaches us the skills necessary to manage our finances, much like a jeweler carefully measures and weighs gold, because the unit of measurement for gold is tiny. Unlike other commodities, we must carefully balance our spending and income so that we are neither wasteful nor stingy. Doing so makes us responsible financial managers for ourselves and our family, ensuring a stable and successful life. Offering and Buddhist activities. Developing good skills in financial management helps us control our careers and spending, avoiding debt and the need to break the law. Some people, motivated by faith, borrow money to fund Buddhist activities. Buddha does not encourage or endorse this. We heard of a Buddhist who sold a house worth over 800 million VND, then used 750 million VND to fund religious ceremonies in Hue and Hanoi. This brought much praise and joy from others, but no one else would do the same. Such behavior is reckless. The Buddha teaches that income or profit should be divided into 4 parts. 1/4 for filial piety to parents, 1/4 for personal expenses, 1/4 for savings, and 1/4 for charity. In modern times, paying taxes is a form of charity, and any surplus can be used for additional charity work. There should be no case where one has no profession, sells their house, and then rents a room for 800,000 VN a month, causing family members to lose respect for Buddhism and its monastic. We do not know who advised this person, but both the advisor and the one who followed the advice misunderstood the concept of perfection through giving. They gave away all their assets. The Buddha also teaches in the Dhammapada that monks, when receiving offerings, should be like bees collecting nectar from flowers without harming their fragrance or color. Similarly, charity and Buddhist activities should not negatively impact the lives of those making offerings. Those who give recklessly make monks feel deeply uneasy. Therefore, they must act correctly according to the Buddha's teaching, ensuring that the family's financial stability and the happiness of its members are not compromised. It is undoubtedly wrong to give money one doesn't have, and borrowing money to donate is even more inappropriate. On the other hand, those with wealth who are stingy in doing good deeds or supporting Buddhist activities are at the opposite extreme. The Medicine Buddha Sutra describes such individuals as feeling as if a razor blade is slicing through their bones and marrow and spending money on themselves, parents, loved ones, or the poor and unfortunate. They rationalize that their money was earned through hard work, so why should they share it with others? They believe that everyone should enjoy the fruits of their labor, and that creating a dependent mindset is wrong. As human beings, we must understand that there are times when emergency relief is needed, and there are times when long-term assistance is required. Both situations have value. The key is that the person performing the charitable act understands the nature of the situation to provide appropriate help. For instance, in an emergency, teaching someone how to make a living might be too late. They could die before learning the skill. Emergency relief is like giving a fish. In such cases, immediate action is necessary, such as providing food, clothing, and blankets to those affected by natural disasters to help them overcome their difficulties. Long-term assistance, like giving a fishing rod, is akin to teaching a person to fish. If we give them a fish, they will eat it and then starve again. Long-term assistance means providing the means for self-sufficiency. Social welfare centers in Vietnam today choose this approach, allowing residents to participate in vocational contracts, although the dropout rate is currently over 55%. Remaining residents can fully support themselves with legal work. To ensure right livelihood, the Buddha advises in the Anguttara Nikaya, Book 4, page 283, that there are 4 forms of decline, and falling into them means losing the future, decadence. The first form of decline is debauchery, meaning indulgence in depravity. This applies to both men and women, or those who have not identified their gender. The bankruptcy rate is particularly high among those with gender identity issues because they must financially support their partners to satisfy their sexual needs. Financial harm often leads to negative health effects and even life-threatening consequences. Kings in the past often died young due to debauchery or lost their kingdoms because they spent all their time and energy on extravagant amusements instead of focusing on political, economic, or cultural matters. The second form of decline is drinking. In Vietnam, there is a trend known as morning bitterness, evening spiciness, meaning drinking coffee in the morning and alcohol in the evening. Taverns have sprung up everywhere to meet the increasing demand for these toxic substances. India strictly regulates this issue. Alcohol is only sold between 5:30 p.m. and 7 p.m. 2 or more people gather to drink in public, they are fined. Without drinking companions, one's desire to drink is limited, reducing the social harm caused by alcohol. India has to enforce such strict measures because it is a poor country. If alcohol in taverns were as widespread as in Vietnam, society might collapse. In reality, to improve society, we need to think beyond the immediate. Alcohol primarily serves men's needs, and when they drink to the point of intoxication, they cannot take care of themselves, let alone their families. Wives and children are unhappy, and with alcohol constantly lurking in their husbands, how can family happiness be ensured? It's essential to understand that the family is the fundamental unit of society. When each unit is rotten, the entire society's survival is in jeopardy. The best solution is to strictly regulate the production and importation of alcohol, and perhaps even ban it entirely. Instead, we should focus on developing righteous industries that benefit the nation's growth. Doctors tell us that the taxes collected from the alcohol and tobacco industries don't even cover 1% of the government's investment in healthcare facilities to treat diseases caused by alcohol, tobacco, and drugs. Costs far outweigh the benefit. Government funding for healthcare is consistently stretched thin, not to mention the expenses borne by families and patients. There is also the issue of signing contracts over drinks, where people lose their judgment about what is right and wrong, legal or illegal. The third form of decline is gambling, including stock trading. While stocks are considered a legal profession, they share some of the harmful characteristics of gambling, significantly damaging financial stability. The global financial crisis was triggered by the collapse of Wall Street, directly affecting the G7 group, with the United States at the center, and extending its impact to G8 and G20. We must understand that 90% of the world's economic output is controlled by the G20, with Wall Street as the hub. Stock trading is a large-scale form of gambling. We have witnessed scenes where billionaires became beggars in just one day due to market fluctuations. Today, many people, instead of using their money to invest in production or services that create and sustain jobs, choose to invest in the stock market. While gambling is a pathway to poverty, stock trading is its grandmaster. Of course, some people become wealthy through it by hiring experts to manage their investment. Usury is another form of gambling. People turn to it when they can't repay debts and have no assets left to offer as collateral to the bank. They have no choice but to seek out loan sharks. This practice is cruel to borrowers and risky for lenders. If someone has lost everything, who can guarantee they will repay their loans? The fourth form of decline is bad company. Bad company can mean many things. Friends who indulge in excess, violate the law, lead a debauched life, do nothing productive, or gossip endlessly. Associating with such people only brings trouble, leading to a life filled with suffering. Ambition. Anyone seeking to establish a righteous career must avoid these four forms of decline. The Digha Nikaya, Book 3, page 221, advises, first, everyone must have ambition, also known as the base of desire. Term desire here is translated as ambition. There is an Indian fable that goes as follows. A man has a donkey that loves to play. The owner devises a plan, placing a bundle of hay in front of the donkey. With a signal, the owner entices it to move forward. The donkey approaches the hay, unaware that the distance between it and the hay remains constant. The owner reaches his destination. Ambition is far more attractive than a bundle of hay. Without ambition, one loses the will to advance, becoming fatalistic, content with mediocrity, leading a meaningless and boring life. Contentment and mediocrity are strictly forbidden in Buddhism. Buddhism encourages a spirit of striving. Furthermore, one must strive to improve, hoping to have enough resources and intellect to help others. Buddhism encourages us to overcome adversity, helping us cultivate faith and determination to achieve our ambitions. Before the Buddha meditated for 49 days, he vowed, rather than leaving this spot without attaining enlightenment, I would rather let my body be crushed and my bones destroyed. This was the Buddha's ambition. The symbolic language describing the Buddha crossing the river before reaching the Bodhi tree includes the act of placing his bowl in the river, saying that if his vow were to be fulfilled, the bowl would float upstream against the current. The bowl floated upstream. The river, 1 kilometer wide and several dozen kilometers long, was not deep during the Buddha's time. There are no records of its depth. However, today, the river is only filled with water during the rainy season, August, September, and October. The rest of the year, the water is shallow, barely reaching one's knees, making it possible to walk across. We can infer that the river wasn't deep during the Buddha's time. Shallow rivers do not have strong currents. The starting and ending points of the river are at the same altitude, so logically, the bowl could not have floated upstream. Thus, the story's message is about the strength of determination, ambition, and the Buddha's ideals, which could even make a bowl float upstream, overcoming all obstacles. They wanted to convey this through metaphorical images and symbolic language, turning a simple text into a masterpiece. Right livelihood must be established on ambition. Patriots who accept hardship and wander in search of their country's independence possess ambition. This applies to any field. Without ambition, there is no development. However, it's important to understand that ambition is different from rationalism. Rationalism relies on subjective values, lacks thorough consideration and objectivity, has no value in cause, effect, or achievement, and is more like daydreaming than ambition. In Buddhism, the symbol of the Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara with 1,000 hands and 1,000 eyes represents collective strength, collective love, and collective contribution. However, if all these loving hands lack wisdom, the guiding eye, and act based on subjective thoughts, emotions, or personality, the result is helping people to their detriment. In terms of policy application, the body represents policy because it needs consistency, with many people working together to implement it, symbolized by the many hands. Conversely, when there are many policies but few implementers, policy is unlikely to succeed. Each hand in the Avalokiteshvara icon holds a different object, signifying that each person is responsible for a specific task, ensuring that the right people are assigned to the right jobs, avoiding overlap and respecting each other's authority, ensuring the policy's success. Diligence, in Buddhist terminology, practice is called diligence. Diligence means continuous effort without interruption, never giving up halfway, remaining steady, undeterred by great challenges, and calmly overcoming obstacles with confidence. It includes exertion and industriousness, pair of virtues. Many people are industrious but not exerting themselves, like in a marathon, where the final sprint requires more effort than the initial or middle phases. There are times when we must adopt a marathon-like spirit, combining both methods of sustained effort and short, intense bursts of speed. Diligence includes determination and unwavering commitment to Buddhist activities. Some people engage in Buddhist work, but when discussing it with others, those who don't share the same dedication may discourage them, leading to unfinished tasks. Misconceptions such as vows to become a bodhisattva or reciting the Lotus Sutra causing negative karma are entirely wrong. Performing these tasks doesn't bring negative karma or misfortune. On the contrary, they should improve one's karma. Those engaged in Buddhist activities must understand that adversity is always temporary. Just as wind or external factors cause waves to rise on the surface of a lake or ocean, the water remains calm beneath. Those involved in Buddhist work must recognize the transient nature of adversity and maintain their determination to achieve their goals. Many people, deeply affected by the financial crisis, lose all faith in life, leading to destructive behavior, madness, or complacency due to the pain of seeing their hard-earned wealth vanish. These are examples of weak, timid, and demoralized individuals. Responsibility in Buddhism, intention is understood as responsibility and commitment. A responsible person, even without being asked or reminded, still fulfills their duties with a sincere heart. These individuals understand the importance of Buddhist activities and strive to do as much as possible with joy and a sense of contribution. Irresponsible individuals only work when they feel like it. If they don't, they neglect their duties. They fear strong management, but when left unchecked, they shirk their responsibilities, steal time from their jobs, and still expect to be paid. Commitment means focusing all one's will on the field one has chosen, with a firm resolve to succeed and not allow failure, leading to high levels of concentration. People with a strong sense of responsibility bring honor to wherever they go, achieving great success. Success in any field requires these two qualities. High levels of concentration help minimize work accidents, traffic accidents, and maximize job efficiency. Concentration in research and experimentation leads to valuable inventions. For practitioners, concentration helps those following the Pure Land School achieve single-mindedness, while those in Zen and Vajrayana Buddhism can reach deep meditation or attain harmony in the three mysteries. Anyone with a high level of concentration has a better chance of success. Inspection. Inspection includes professions such as auditing, quality control, quality assurance, quality development, and quality maintenance. Inspection always works in two directions. Almost all industries require customer feedback on their products and services to address shortcomings. Managers must also carry out internal inspections to check whether their products, services, processes, or procedures meet standards, identify areas for improvement, and ensure lasting reputation. Today, the Vietnamese government is calling for Vietnamese people to use Vietnamese products. Without a thorough inspection process, relying solely on patriotism will never succeed. Consumers don't make purchasing decisions based on patriotism alone. They consider factors such as quality, reasonable prices, attractive designs, and reliable services. For Vietnamese consumers to choose Vietnamese products, Vietnamese manufacturers must update and adhere to WTO standards. Without inspections and relying only on patriotism, the effectiveness of such calls will be low and short-lived. We must complete our legal framework to create favorable conditions for investment, manage industries, ensure a steady supply of raw materials, nurture the labor market, and simplify processes and procedures to avoid the joke of making bureaucracy the main task. True patriotism also develops based on these solutions. A nation's economy that doesn't rely on domestic production cannot grow strong. Such a nation will forever be economically dependent on foreign powers. This highlights the importance of inspection. Many Vietnamese companies lack vision. They sell their products without believing that customers will return. They always try to maximize profits from each customer. China's trade is notorious for its deceptive practices. Tourists to China are advised to bargain in markets, as prices are often inflated tenfold. Electronic products should be avoided as they are often fake. China, the most populous country in the world, is also the biggest violator of copyright. Without timely inspections, economic collapse is inevitable. Many are forced to continue working despite knowing that anything they produce will soon be counterfeit, indicating severe copyright violations. Currently, Buddhist publishing houses in Vietnam are among the places where copyright violations are most rampant. For example, they ordered 2,000 copies of a scripture book, paying a higher price to avoid taxes. A 100-page book that sells for 11,000 VND in the market costs about 6,000 VND to print, with a 7% tax to the government. Additionally, there are costs for design, layout, and salaries. Actual cost of a 100-page book ranges from 7,000 to 8,000 VND. When sold in the market, 35% goes to distributors, and investors make about 20% profit if all copies are sold. However, publishing houses often bypass investors, paying 40% to the printer and keeping 60% for themselves, resulting in unfair treatment for the original investors. The same applies to music tapes, lecture CDs, and all other Buddhist products that suffer from copyright violations. Often, the original investor is a temple, so no one files a lawsuit. We need a robust legal framework to protect the legitimate rights of those who own original ideas. Merit in establishing a career. Some professions are legal, but lack ethics, causing significant harm to others' wisdom and long-term happiness. We must use Buddhist standards to exclude these unethical professions, ensuring long-term benefits for many generations, such as developing wisdom, promoting ethical living, and upholding responsibility, all of which guarantee a peaceful life. This is the profound meaning of establishing a righteous career, which goes far beyond merely making a living and ensuring material happiness. We must always remember that material wealth is not the most important thing. More valuable than material wealth is wisdom. When one has ethics, wisdom, and material wealth grows, work stabilizes, and long-term credibility is established, one is better equipped to survive difficult circumstances. Merit acts as a protector, like the Dharma protectors, bodhisattvas and Buddhas, guarding us. No Buddha protects those who are lazy or engage in unethical profession. Only by accumulating merit can one live happily even amid economic turmoil. Those with merit, even if they lose material possessions, remain calm and resilient. Those without merit will collapse. Even among people selling the same product or investing in the same field, some succeed more than others, demonstrating the difference in merit. Establishing a career based on merit is the most stable and secure path. Building a career on deception leads to success and failure at different times, happiness now, suffering and regret later. The value of establishing a righteous career. Only those who live according to right livelihood have the opportunity to realize the remaining 8 factors of the Noble Eightfold Path. Without right livelihood, there can be no right view, and vice versa. Those who live unrighteously can only have wrong thoughts, because their thoughts are based on greed, hatred, and delusion. Those who live unethically must use deception to sell their goods and services, even disguising themselves as powerful and virtuous when they are not, sometimes even resorting to violence, killing, and retaliation. Such individuals cannot achieve right effort because their efforts are wrong. Wrong effort cannot lead to right mindfulness. Their minds are filled with guilt, fear, torment, and confusion, preventing them from attaining concentration. Establishing a righteous career silently determines the remaining factors of the Noble Eightfold Path. To enter and succeed on the path of right action, one must first establish a righteous career. Establishing a righteous career allows one to accumulate merit, avoiding attachment to that merit, and share it with those who need it. For monastics, right livelihood means wisdom, compassion, selflessness, altruism, and equanimity. These qualities are the pillars of monastic life.